allows it to happen.
We're recording.
Okay, yay, awesome. So I am so super excited, you guys, to have Emily on here. I'm gonna have to like resist saying Cassie, even though I know she's Emily, but we're using we're using Cassie's Zoom. And so just real quick who I am, I'm not gonna go into my story, but I asked Emily if she would be willing to do this Zoom, and she so graciously said that she would. My name is Becky Jeide. I am a triple diamond leader in Eagle Mountain, Utah, and I have been in this business for 5.5 years. It'll be my 6-year anniversary this June, and I'm just really excited to learn from Emily. So I'm going to mute myself, girl, and if you want to just share your story, and once you're done, I've just got a few questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
And if people have specific questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat as well.
Perfect. Okay, so do you guys hear me? We're good? All right. So hello, my name is Emily. Emily Worsing, not Cassie, as it says. I've been in the business for a little over 4 years. It was 4 years in October. And I'm an ambassador diamond. So I started when I was 21. I was like a fresh 21-year-old. I was a college student. You know, I was going to school full time, and I was working. I always worked multiple part-time jobs. You know, I was very independent at a young age. You know, just growing up, you know, I call it, I'm like the pleasant surprise in my family, as I'd like to call it. So, you know, I kind of just, you know, I lived through I grew up, I would say, through my parents' divorce and, you know, them losing their business. But honestly, I embrace all of that because I do not think that I would be the person I am today if it wasn't for it, because of that. My parents taught me that I needed to work hard, and I kind of just like learned lessons at a very young age. So, you know, I did the things that I was supposed to do, you know, go to school, work hard, get good grades, yada, yada, yada. And I graduated a little late, but I was a junior when I started. And, you know, I mean, so the first 8 or 9 months were really crucial in my business. I promoted to Ruby 4 months in February, and I did not go to conference that February, but I wish I did, because after that, I wasn't getting paid as a Ruby. You know, I think I was getting paid as like an executive, and I was kind of just going through the motions, then figuring out like how to really do this business and kind of just figure it out, right? I'm sure a lot of you can kind of relate to that. If you do, drop a 1 or something, or like say I totally get it. Like I was just like figuring it out, right? And you know, I was at a point in my life where I was stuck because I was graduating college a year after that. Yeah, almost like, or the semester after that. And I just was freaking out. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I changed my major a bunch of times. I didn't really know what I was going to school for. I enjoyed learning, but I didn't know like what I wanted to do. And I was in debt, didn't want to go get my master's because I couldn't put myself into more debt. And I was studying abroad that coming summer. So it was like a lot of pressure on me. And I'm sure so many of you again couldn't relate to that. But about 8 months in, you know, I had a month before I studied abroad. I was like, I got to do this. Like, I have no other option. I need to figure out money. I'm about to graduate and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. But, you know, I saw Cassie, my enroller, promoting and, you know, making a bunch of friends throughout the months too. And so I just started watching a bunch of YouTube videos. Like, as silly as that sounds, that's just what I started doing. I was like, I know what I need to do, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. So it's so funny. I always say this. I always will remember Jocelyn Yates' video. She's laying on her bed. It's so old. Like, the quality is so old too, but the title is like how to enroll 20 distributors in 30 days or something like that. And I was like, oh, I need to watch this video. And I watched like a million times, and it was all about just massive action. She didn't really give like specific tips per se. She did, but it was more like massive action. So I was like, okay, I got to put in the work. Like, if I want to make a lot of money, I got to put in a lot of work. And I was self-developing, guys. That was just what I did. Like, I was listening to audiobooks about, being an entrepreneur, and like listening to, it wasn't big with podcasts then. But YouTube videos, trainings, like anything I possibly could, guys, from top leaders. And it just really started from there. So, my biggest aha moment was when I was studying abroad, because I was in Amsterdam, and I was like, oh gosh, like I'm across the world working my business. Like, that was huge. That was one of the biggest aha moments for me. And I was working my business. Like, I was grinding, I was doing it. So I was there for 2 months, and I came home. And the month after that, I went diamond in September, double in November, triple in February, and then, sorry, the background noise, and then presidential that July. So it was quick, like it happened quick. But, something that I always mention is that didn't happen when I decided that I wanted that to happen. Like, I decided, again, like I said, 7 or 8 months in, right? So I was preparing, I was working on my mindset, I was figuring out what I was doing and what worked for me. Because we all do the basics kind of the same way, but we have our own unique little twist to each. And it took me time to do that, guys. Like, it's so normal. But the one thing that I did promise myself was that I wasn't going to give up, because I knew it took time. And I mean, if I quit or gave up, then it would have just all been pointless, right? And then a year from Pres to Ambassador was a year and a half. So that year and a half was, rebuilding, recharting, again, growing through whatever I needed to get through. Each mountaintop, there's always a valley, and it's not always going to be an uphill climb, right? So for a little over 4 years later, and I mean, now I'm like getting married now, and it's like crazy. Started at 21, I'm 25 now, so still a baby. I'm sure that, like, a lot of people on here, they're still young. I am, but it's just crazy how quick it goes and just how amazing the experience is, for sure.
Yay! I love it. I love it. So I was listening to you, and I mean, there's a big age gap between you and I, but I'm like, you know what? That doesn't even matter. And I think, gosh, if I had known about or started something like that, this at that age, I'm like, wow, I just think it's so great. I've even got, I have a son, Emily, who is 12 years old, almost 13, and he already is like, I'm going to do this business with you. Like, he sees, just what it's done for our family, so I'm just saying that for those of you on here who do have kids, know that your kids are watching, I just think that's so great. But one other thing too that stood out to me, Emily, is just you seeking out and being so hungry, not waiting for anything necessarily to be like handed to you, like, here, go watch this, do this, but do you feel like you sought it out yourself and looked for those trainings, and whether or not there's people on here who have a great enroller, or maybe they have someone who quit? I have always thought that's super important to point out, being, what's the word, self motivated, or just being, I can't think of the word, Emily, but just seeking out the knowledge, finding it, or asking if you don't know the answer to something.
Wait. Okay, we got it. I'm just not going to mute myself. And if I do accidentally, I apologize. I'm like, oh no, I can't unmute myself. But so, were you trying to say self-sufficient? Maybe I'm like, I want to help her, but I can't. I don't know.
Yes, that's actually the exact word, being self-sufficient, not meaning that you have to do it all on your own. But I just know for me, I was so hungry for this. And, I blew up my enroller's phone with questions, but I wanted more. I was always, what's next? What else can I do? I want to do anything I can possible. And I kind of sensed that you were the same way.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, I was very independent at a young age, but it doesn't, a lot. I know the color personality is been getting huge lately, like business wide, it works wise. And so it doesn't matter what color you are. People say like reds are like very competitive and they just go, go, go. But, from studying it a lot, I've heard from, sorry, my dogs, I really do apologize. From studying on, hearing about a lot, yellows are one of the most hardworking, right? So, I mean, when I've always been driven, and we all want more for ourselves. We want more for our families, right? But there's always going to be something that is like in the way. There's always going to there's a roadblock. There's going to be a roadblock in some way, shape, or form. But I talk a lot about my anxiety and depression, for example, and that's something that was huge for me, especially in the beginning. But it doesn't matter your circumstance. I'm telling you guys, you probably hear this a million times. Business is 20% skill and 80% mindset. You have to be growing every single day. Like on the days you don't want to, on the days you're pissed off, on the days you're annoyed, you got to put something on. You got to read something. When you're driving, you got to listen to something. When you're sharing, whatever it is, you have to be growing in some way, shape, or form. And that's truly like 100% how I've just gotten through each day, I guess.
Yeah, I agree so much. And I don't exactly know for me how long it took for me to start doing that personal development. I know it wasn't from the get-go. I do remember, however, once I did hear that it was important, the very first book that I read, you guys, I always love to share this, was Beach Money. Like, it's just a super thin, small, like fast, quick, easy read. But it was like reading that book is what kind of like lit that fire even more so for me. So anyways, we go on and on about all the different books, but I am excited for some questions that some of my team had, Emily. Like, if you guys haven't heard her name before, I don't know how long you've been in, but I just remember hearing this girl's name so many times on the family calls on Sunday as a top enroller, and I'd go and look at her profile on Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to know, what is this girl doing? So talk to us maybe just about like where are some places that you're finding your distributors at and what that process looks like. Like, don't hold anything back, obviously tell what you can tell, but like if you're cold messaging, don't be afraid to tell us. If it's a certain number of messages, like I think people will hear the work, and those who want this, they'll try it, Emily, they'll do it. And those who don't won't, but I would just love to hear it all.
Yeah. Well, I actually do it all. Like that's the thing. Like there really is there's no secret whatsoever. Like I'm doing it all. But the biggest thing, and again, I always mention this. I usually mention it when I tell my story, but I didn't, is, the consistency with posting, because I saw one post from Cassie. I did not watch her. I did not know anything about this business. I didn't even know what MLM was. Honestly, guys, I had no idea. I saw one post from her. I texted her.
Was she your friend? I always want to ask that. Was she someone you knew prior to joining?
No, I did not know her either. She was
okay.
Yeah.
So it's Instagram that you saw with this one post.
I saw one post from her, and I texted her, and I joined right on the spot. So there are other Emilys out there, I promise you guys, but posting, right? I mean, that's huge, and being consistent with that. I have so many, especially when you first join and you're just trying to find, you're trying to learn all this stuff. A lot of people, and maybe some of you, are thinking this right now. You're like, well, I have so many potentials, but they're telling me no, not right now. They're just not ready. And it's frustrating. Like, I get that. I had to host a post the other day with like 50 PDTs, and I'm like, not one has signed up yet. But it's not how it works sometimes, guys. Like, people need to watch, right? There's people like me who join on the spot. There's people who need to watch you. But if you're just talking to them and you're not posting, it doesn't work. Like, you got to be doing all the things every single day on your checklist, on your whatever it is, a 6 list, whatever you do. I know we're all like different a little bit. So posting consistently every single day on your story and your page, it being relatable. That was something that held me back for a while. I was just posting, it works. No one wants an advertisement. If they want advertisements, they'd be watching TV, right? So just being you, being real, being raw, not holding back. You know, you don't have to live on a beach, or you don't have to have kids to be successful. Like, you don't have to be 21, you don't have to be 30, whatever, you know, don't compare yourself, just be you. But also, you know, of course, talking about the business, going live, stepping out of your comfort zone, doing stuff like that. But a huge thing for me is, I mean, I use Instagram all the way up until ambassador. And then literally like almost a year on the dot, I've been a lot bigger with Facebook. So I'm almost like 50-50, I would say. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it because there's always going to be change, right? Like, the same things that you keep doing throughout the years and the months or whatever, like, it's not always going to be the same. So I mean, posting on stories for each is what I do, doing polls, doing things that are interactive. Don't wait for people to come to you by any means. When I wanted to go diamond, I was 8 months in, I didn't have a large social media. So guys, I reached out to every single person I possibly could, like every single person. Like, you know how we like reach out, we send, like, I don't know if you guys do cold messaging for a product model or whatever. I did that for distributors, like every single person, literally every single person.
Let's hear that. I want to hear more about that. I do remember,
Yeah.
Emily, not to interrupt you, hearing you on a Zoom before saying, I remember that specific thing, saying that you did that. And maybe it was like scrolling down to like your longest followers on Instagram or whoever you had been following the longest and just like going through them. Is that right? And what were you saying? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So, I mean, whenever people ask about it, I say, like, don't overthink it, guys. Like, and don't limit people either. I mean, obviously if they're like, look like they're 13, or maybe they just like, they have like a social media, but they don't really post like them at all, and just like memes or random stuff, like, I'm not going to reach out to them. But don't be afraid to ask, but you want to be real and authentic. So obviously it would take forever if like you're sending individual, like, personalized thing to each people, which I suggest that you do. But if you want to sometimes put in some massive action with it, I send so you can't do the voice recording on Instagram DM. You can, but you can't copy and paste it and send it. So I do videos of my face, and I'm just super simple. I just say, like, hey, I know this is so random. We've been following each other for a while. You know, literally, I just ask, have you ever thought about doing what I do and making an extra income from your smartphone? I think we would have a lot of fun together. Like, it's just so simple.
I love it. Now say it again, because I know that I've used the little microphone button like you were saying on Instagram so they can hear my voice and like build that trust. But you're right, there's not an option to forward it. So are you just recording a short video on your phone and it's saved there and then you can send it? Is that right?
Yeah, and I can, after this, I can send you stuff, or I know I'm on the page still, I can, like,
pretend I'm a potential Emily.
yeah, or I can post some stuff, just remind me after this, like, make it up. I'm probably going to forget, honestly, and I can, like, post a video that I've sent to people before.
Sure. And everyone make it your own. I mean, obviously if you're doing a video or if it's your voice, that's you. And I find too, and I'll just throw this in there real quick, that is going to, I think, get the conversation moving along so much more quickly versus, do you ever just get annoyed with like people taking forever to reply back when it's just through text typing out messages?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I mean, I know for a fact, it's like, how many people are sending messages, like text messages, like in the DM, you know, it's like everyone is like, if you want to stand out, you got to do something different. You got to step out of your comfort zone. And if maybe a video is way your comfort zone, then do a voice memo instead, you know, so you can start from somewhere. I remember talking to one girl, I forgot, she's in the company, it was forever ago. And she was like, I was so nervous to send stuff. Like, I would send a voice message to myself on DM and like listen to it a million times before I can like actually send it to someone else. But that's how it is. Like, we all have to start from somewhere. So like, whatever you got to do, just like take those next steps, or send it to your upline or your enroller and be like, how does this sound? I know it's awkward at first, but And kind of going along the voice messages and the videos, I do that for follow-ups too all the time. Like I try to stay away from scripted scripts, if that makes sense, for follow-ups and like messaging for like distributors. But you know, I'll send voice messages and I'll do it on the spot. However I'm feeling, I'll just like say how I feel for like a follow-up, like, hey girl, I've been thinking of you. We're doing big things this year. Like, you know, I'm pushing for X amount of promotion and I have 3 spots to make an extra $500 a month. Have you been thinking about it? Like whatever is on your mind, what you're feeling, just record it and just send it as a follow-up. Like it's people just getting like scripts all the time. It's going to make a huge difference with them, especially seeing your face for potentials or hearing your voice. The voice messaging when you're having a conversation with potentials, whether it's customer or distributor, that is huge. That is really big. What else? So I said polls. Okay, so I'm always reaching out to my customers. Are we talking about customers and distributors or just distributors right now? I'm just like going on. Doesn't matter.
I think both. I'd say
Okay.
both.
I mean, honestly, it goes for both. I don't send voice messages or videos for when I'm sending like product model or whatever, you know, cold messages for customers. I don't do that. But, you know, in a conversation with them, if I sense a little like hesitance or like skepticism from someone, I'll 100% send a voice message to them, customer or distributor, for sure. You know, I'm always reaching out to my loyal customers and asking them about the business opportunity, especially if they have results. I will immediately be like, you need to work with me. You can enroll 1 million customers and get rich just from like reposting your result pictures 1 million times, like honestly. And it's just, again, I'm sure, I mean, maybe you guys are picking it up. I'm just being like me, you know, like don't overthink it. There's no certain script that's gonna like, that's magic. You know what I'm saying? It's just you being real, raw, and honest with people.
I think you're totally right. I'm just going to interject really quick when you brought up, you know, messaging those loyal customers, even if they haven't completed their 3 months, if they're like showing that excitement and they're like, you know, sending you a before and after picture, saying how the products are making them feel already in a short amount of time. Absolutely. And I'll just share real quick. One thing, Emily, for me is when I joined, I wasn't offering the business to people. Like I was just loyal customer. That's what I was comfortable with. I even, you know, had earned like the loyal customer bonus 6 months in a row. And I thought I was balling, but then I'm like, hold on, I can only get so far, you know, in this business with just enrolling customers. And so I decided I was going to go back through every single customer and I kind of sent them the same message. And it was simply, hey, I know this is out of the blue, whatever. Just curious. I love using that phrase, just curious, because it's very non-confrontational. And I'll say, have you ever thought about doing what I do? Or just curious, what would you be open to hearing about how you can make extra money while also sharing the products? Just something as simple as that. And once I did that and so many replied back like, yeah, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why didn't you ever ask me? And that just was like a light bulb moment. People aren't necessarily going to ask, even if they're interested and curious. A lot of people don't know they can do this, or they're worried that they wouldn't be good at it. But then when you ask them and give them maybe a compliment or a reason why they'd be good, or you'd love to have them do it, that can go so far.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. I have a good little thing we can do. So I want you guys to drop in the chat, I'm looking at right now, what your income goal is for this. Like, be real, not like nothing stopping you, like no one's judging you, like pretend no one can see it. Like if you were just like you're dreaming big, like what is your income goal? 5,000, 30, 100,000. Yes, Megan. Courtney, yeah. Oh my God, I love these. 5,000, love it. Okay. Love it, love it. All these are okay. Rachel, you're very precise. Love that. More precise, the better, right? 20K, love it. Okay. I mean, okay, every single person that I've seen so far, every comment, I mean, if y'all want to make that, y'all gonna be enrolling distributors. Like, you gotta be enrolling. You can't make that with just enrolling customers. If you want to make an extra $1,000, maybe. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know how that is. It the car bonus still? I'm
So
not
it
sure.
is, yeah, and that's actually, I remember that, I believe, was my first check. I hadn't even promoted to executive, but because of the loyal customer bonus, like I had a comma in my check, and I thought, this is awesome, this is great. Continued it for 6 months, and then realized you have to have, what is it, a minimum of 60 personally enrolled LCs directly under you, and then 3,000 PBV. That's a lot to try and like keep up. And you guys, real quick, I think during that time, maybe I had enrolled 3 distributors, didn't know that I could move customers under them, so they didn't get customers, and that was 3 fast start bonuses missed out on. So I've learned through a lot of trial and error and mistakes. But yeah, Emily's right, you guys. Growing your team and distributors is where it's at. And talk more about that, especially, hitting that diamond and above rank, if you want to talk specifically on that.
Yeah, so imagine you guys taking all your income goals, but you're duplicating that among your downline. So you're enrolling distributors and, you're dreaming big with them, and you're duplicating that, right? It's like, it's going to be a lot easier. And I say this all the time, the simplicity, I said it like 5 times today, I swear. Like, imagine you trying to enroll 20 customers yourself, because, we're pushing for volume, got to have volume, got to have X amount of GV for promotion, or 10 distributors in your downline, and you teaching them to enroll 2 customers each. It's going to be a lot easier, right? And I know each and every one of you, and if you don't, reach out to one of us, me or Becky. You got a team page, you got training videos, you got an upline, you got your sponsor, your enroller, you got YouTube videos. Like, you enroll distributors, like, they'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, right? You don't need to baby them. Like, don't freak out. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll get it, right? But I mean, I love all these goals. They're like pumping me up. But I mean, so do you want me to talk about Diamond, you said?
Yeah, maybe like touch on that, because I know, gosh, obviously I should say I don't know what's being announced at conference, but the vibe I'm getting, Emily, and I'm sure you're getting it too, is just, we keep hearing the word more. You can apply that to so many different things. And, with the charting the way it is, like, I've been in, you and I have both been in long enough that charting was different prior to how it is now. And it's just, I think, so much more simpler. And it's like, no, Diamond's now the new Ruby. Like, girls on my team who would say like, okay, my goal is Ruby by March. I go, it's Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
It's Diamond.
Yeah. So, gosh, I don't even remember. Well, I don't remember when, but I'll never forget when Cassie told me for the first time what Diamond was, and that it's a license basically to print money. Like, you can write your own paycheck. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, what am I in La La Land? Like, you're just telling me that, right? But basically, when you go Diamond, you promote, you open up like a lot of most of, not all, the compensation plan. And what it means, by writing your own paycheck basically is, I mean, so I hope you guys know about fast starts. We can talk about that after. But you unlock, you get gen bonuses, which when you pop a diamond, when you're a diamond, you go double and you go triple and etc. And you pop a personally enrolled diamond, you make 9% off of their GV. So let's say their GV is 10,000, you make like 900. Is that right? Simple math, I'm failing right now. You make 900 bonus just on that, never mind, commissions and all of that. Then you make cabs, right? Cabs are like really crazy. So we get $100 fast start bonus. But when you go Diamond and you're enrolling distributors, you're making 180 instead of 100. That's a lot of money, right? And then when you go double, you make more, triple, you make more, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to go into that, and I'll probably mess up the numbers anyway, so I'm not going to confuse you guys. So like there is a whole world of like money. Like when I was triple, guys, I was paying my bills just in fast starts and cabs. Like, never mind all the commission and all the other ways that we get paid, right? So think about it. There's unlimited ways that we can make money in this business. And guys, you don't, I mean, I don't want to say this because you should, but you don't have to be diamond to be making a lot of money, to be making a full-time income. But when you go diamond, I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. Like it's a whole other world.
It is. No, it totally is. And one thought that came to me too is that like, how do I explain this? You know, conferences coming up, maybe people weren't happy, you know, with whatever their paycheck or commission check was from December or what it's going to be from January or whatever. But I just remember like seeing such a huge leap of like whatever I got paid maybe in January from December's work to like the check from January's work paid in February, you know, and then from that point forward, like being like, oh my gosh, my check more than doubled, more than tripled, quadrupled, just things can happen so quickly. And I know with you sharing your, you know, timeline of promoting, that just goes to show that it can happen fast. And what, Emily, would you say? Obviously, it's not just you doing all of it, but do you want to maybe talk about like that momentum or talk about how having other people that are excited too, or just, I don't know, like I'm trying to find the words for just getting more people excited and whether or not you have team or you're going to conference alone or you're going, but none of your team's going. Like, I just feel like maybe let's touch on that with conference coming up so soon.
Yeah. So, last year or a little over a year ago. So when I went Prez in July 2 years ago. I got paid as a Prez for like 2 months and then I lost it in, I think like October, November, whatever. All the way to January, I was really close. I didn't get paid as a Prez. And then February conference came, got Prez back. So 2008, this was not last year. I'm like, it's 2019, it's 2020. So in 2018, February I was getting paid as a Prez. And then guys, I was in the top 20 income earner. I went to the top 20 retreat as a presidential, like the few months later or whatever, you know, we got picked. So I wasn't maintaining Prez. Conference came around, started maintaining, and like 5 months later, I made a little over a $30,000 check as a Prez. And then, but a year before that, wasn't even maintaining it, guys. Like, and then after that, this past year, 2019, you know, I went ambassador in February after conference. So like, there's a lot of things that go around conference, right? But you know, going on with that, I mean, business, there's always going to be ups and downs. There's going to be roller coasters. And that's one of the hardest things that most people have to overcome. Like, it's not a secret whatsoever, because we're not used to that. Like we grow up and you know, we call it coin pushers, right? Carrie, I was gonna say Bauer, Carrie Young now, her video is like amazing. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, Coin Pusher versus Entrepreneur. If you haven't, go watch it. You know, we're used to being paid the same amount every single week, etc. Guys, we're not like that. We're entrepreneurs. Like, you have to expect ups and downs, but you know, what's really awesome is that downs in this business are still pretty good than, like, you know, most other situations. People work in like a 9-to-5, right? But I mean, other than that, it's just like, I mean, guys, I hope all of you are going to conference. Like, you guys, it's like watching. Who's like, are you guys sports fans here? Like, anyone watch the NFL, like baseball, anything like that? You can't, or like, you like music? There's no, you can't listen to it in your car and say it's better than like watching it or going to see them in person. Like, and that's not even the best comparison whatsoever. You know, I mean, conference, I remember the first time I went, I was actually a double the first time I went, and I had goosebumps the entire time. It's just, it's hard for me to, I like can't even speak. I'm like speechless, right? I mean, the environment is amazing. You're going to learn, you get to brush shoulders. I'm like, I remember the first time I went, I was like, wow, I'm breathing their air, of Stephanie and Joel Dunn, you know, I mean, top income earners, right? I mean, you're gonna learn so many amazing things. You're gonna meet so many amazing people. And, you know, I mean, that's one of the most important things too, is your environment, you know, your friends, your group of people, your bubble, right? So, but going along with that is, guys, also don't wait for conference either whatsoever. If you missed my story in the beginning, I mean, I promoted to diamond in September, double in November, but that built up, right? Like it built up because I was working in May, June, and July. And then actually went Ruby 2.0 and Emerald 2.0 the past couple months. So like, don't wait. It's just about deciding, right? And then conference is just like the cherry and the whipped cream on top.
I totally agree. I'm glad you said that about not waiting because I think like we're just coming out of like boom, 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 you know, holidays 3 months in a row, right? Maybe some people took a break, took a dip in that time, and they're like, well, I'll just wait till conference, wait to see what's announced. But I'm like you, I'm like, like, even if, you know, I've got some host to post going to Emily for the business like you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't even keep up with all these people. No one's enrolled yet. And even if they don't enroll before conference, you better believe I've got my organization going as far as like their names in one place, being able to go back to that list and be like, okay, they just announced a distributor promotion, you know, or whatever it is. And then I'm not scrambling, be like, well, I haven't been talking to anyone. Maybe I have 2 people I could tell about this. Usually when there is an announcement, like we have a limited time frame, right, Emily? It's like you don't have the whole year to take advantage of whatever is announced then. So yeah, I mean, really just being prepared. And I don't know, Emily, if you listened to, I know there was a Zoom with the people that went to Costa Rica doing kind of like a conference Zoom. I watched the replay of it, and one of them touched on like, yeah, this time is golden right now. Add to your list, get it organized and connect if that's what you use, whatever you need to do, but have it ready to go and grow it as big as you can, growing your network. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, well, not only that, guys, but what you do and what you produce and ranking up in January, that counts for any announcements at conference. So if anyone was slacking off, not really putting in work in September, October, November, December, and, you know, maybe you're like just waiting for conference and announcements to happen, you're going to kick yourself in the booty, because anything that's announced at conference is going to count for whatever, like I said, you produced or what you did in January. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I'm looking real quick down at like my notes for questions. I feel like you've gone over a lot of it. Maybe just share back to like, let's talk again about enrolling distributors. Do you want to go into more specifically?
Yeah. So I actually saw someone mention host to post, and I didn't go over that. So, you know, working host to post, I don't like doing host to post on Instagram, because I mean, I think it's great. I'll do it sometimes, but I do it more on Facebook. I use Instagram more for cold messaging. I feel like, you know, stories are just more popular on Instagram and stuff like that. But I'm like going crazy on Facebook. I think it's a lot more interactive, which I'm sure a lot of you can agree with. So, and I work it both for DTs and LCs. So I'll do a lot of customer, like Thermofite or Cleanse, for example, but I'll go back and I'll send a voice memo on DM to every single person who posted for me, bringing up the business opportunity. And I'll forward that same voice message to each person who posted for me. And it's super simple. Like I said, you know, like, hey, it's me again, right? I know this is super random, but have you ever thought about making an extra income from your phone? Or have you ever thought about doing what I do? You literally would be doing the same thing you did, just posting for me. And I think we'd have a lot of fun together, or I think you'd be awesome at it, or whatever it is. So I'm kind of working, you know, crushing one bird with two stones, however that works. No.
Two birds with one stone.
However that works. Whatever it is. You guys get on it.
I love it.
But two birds with one stone. That's what it is, right? I said the opposite before. Don't mind me, guys.
You're cracking me up. I love it.
But then I'll have people post like a now hiring kind of thing, you know, host a post instead of a product one. It kind of just depends, guys. Listen, it's like, it's always crazy. Like, I never know what I want to do half the time, but I know that I always need both. And then I'm like, okay, I need distributors. And I'm like, crap, I need to have a fast start tomorrow. I'm like, all right, like, I got to figure this out. Like, you're not alone. Like, I have ADHD too. Like, I'm just crazy. It's always a mess, but I embrace it. And I don't even have children yet. I'm like, great. I don't know what I want to do. But again, you know, you're not alone. And it's just, you know, you write down the things that work and you know that work. And the main thing is reaching out to people 100%. So, you know, if you're posting on your story, you're posting on your page, you're following up, right? But you need to be messaging. You need to be reaching out to people. You need to be talking to them. If you feel stuck, you need to go do that tonight. You need to send out messages. And as far as like numbers go, because I know you asked that before, for messaging on Instagram, I do 100 new messages a day. And then for host a post, I just do it until I just get posts up, and I don't stop until a few posts are like blowing up and I need to stop, you know? So some days I can get 10 posts up and I'm done. Some days, like the other day, I got like 3 up and I was like, I can't handle anymore. Some days it'll be 40 or 50 and I'm like, what is going on? Right. So, you know, it's results. Like, I just am doing it until I get the result. And, I mean, if you have a fast start, if you have a goal that day, I'll wake up and be like, I'm getting 3 customers and 1 distributor, and I'm not going to bed until I do that. Then I'm just gonna, you know, I'm going to put in as much work that I possibly can. And if I don't hit that goal, then I'm going to go to bed knowing that I did everything that I could have possibly done, you know? So yeah, Host Post is amazing. Like I said, I just started Host Post. So in the last year and I'm loving it, but I do all the things, guys. Don't be afraid to do all the things.
I love that. And oh gosh, I should have written down what I was thinking while you were talking. Do you maybe want to share, I know at least for my team, and I'm sure we're not alone in this, but sometimes people feel like, well, I've talked to everyone, or, you know, I'm just waiting to hear back from people. So maybe just real briefly talk about some of your favorite ways to grow your network, because I mean, we are in network marketing. We don't ever want to run out of people to talk to. Maybe just real quick, a Facebook and an Instagram tip where they can like implement it tonight to start growing that network, because you always want new eyes on you, because what is it? Like, you probably heard this before too. I don't know where it originated, but fresh fish jump first. And it always blows my mind when it's a new follower, you know, that's suddenly interested or sees a post I did recently and the conversation's going. So yeah, we don't ever want to run out of people to talk to.
Me. That was literally me.
Oh, I'm so excited to know that, because I've heard Kelly Brown say it and someone else, and it's you. Mm-hmm. You coined the phrase fresh fish jump first.
I saw one post, guys. Like, I didn't watch her. Again, I didn't even know what she was even talking about. I was just like, this connected with me, and I didn't know who she was. Maybe she just followed me or whatever. I saw one post and I texted her and I joined within like the next 24 hours or something. But it's so true. I mean, it's funny because I feel like, you know, a lot of people, even myself, you know, I got caught up in, you know, my friends and family. And then I'm like, okay, well, I went through them, and then I hesitated and didn't even reach out to like 70% of them, which I thought I did. But I was just like tricking myself because I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm so nervous. And then you're kind of like, okay, you're like adding people, but then you get caught up because maybe you're like talking to a few people during the day, but you don't continue to follow people and add them because maybe you're like, oh, well, I got like 5 potentials today. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm going to talk to them. This is great, which it is. But we need, guys, it's when I say consistency, I don't mean like you're just putting in work. Like, you have to be intentional, and you need to set numbers for yourself. How many people are you adding a day? How many people are you messaging a day? And you don't stop no matter what. So let's say, you know, you're getting out, your goal is 50 messages a day. If you sent out 20 and your DM is blowing up, you need to finish, right? So for me, I mean, I get really distracted, so I need to finish at 50, but other people, maybe you can do 10, 10, and 10, 10, and 10 throughout your day, right? We all work differently, but you need to be consistent with your daily tasks, right? So I'm like, I hope that makes sense. Not just like consistently working. You need to be intentional. You know, if you catch yourself just scrolling aimlessly, go message some people, right? But have your daily checklist out. I mean, and just check that baby off every day, and don't make the same mistake 2 days in a row. So for example, like, you know, like if I didn't post a business post today on my page, but I know that I'm not going to do that tomorrow, right? So I'm human and that happens. And I was walking llamas today, so I wanted, you know, I was really focused on that. But, you know, I was posting on
You
my
got to be
story.
in the moment. You have to be in that moment.
Yeah. But yeah, just having that consistency. And I totally forgot what your question was.
Oh, no, you're good. So like, just some tips for people maybe like, well, who do I add as friends? Do I just do the Facebook suggested friends?
Yeah.
Like, who do I follow on Instagram? Yeah, just some following, growing the network tips.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, guys, following is literally the easiest thing. Do not overthink it. I mean, I just follow girls, and I follow girls who are around my age, because those are the people who we're gonna connect to each other. I'm not gonna follow I'm not gonna go and follow, you know, a bunch of moms intentionally. I mean, I will if I don't know. I won't leave them out, but I'm not gonna intentionally do that because I don't have kids, right? But I have signed up plenty of moms, right? So again, I'm new on Facebook, and I know the groups are a big thing. I'm in groups, but I don't really interact with like within the groups yet. Maybe I'll get there. I don't know. I just add from my friends of friends. Like that's just really it. Like, I mean, I'll go to, what'd you say?
Oh, I was going to say, so I want to get more actually into Facebook groups. Mm-hmm. Do you, like, how did you go about finding what groups to join or be a part of? Like, I'm probably overthinking it myself, mm-hmm. but I'm like, I don't even know where to start to find what groups to get in.
Yeah. So again, like I'm still new with it, but anything that you relate to. So for example, my fiance is a police officer. We have a K9. So I'm in like a police officer wife group kind of thing. I love music festivals. And so I'm in like a few different like music festival groups. I mean, there's so many, guys. If you're into jewelry, makeup, hair, I mean, if you're into llamas, they probably have a llama group on Facebook that I should probably find.
Oh, yeah, you need to go find that llama group tonight and let them see whatever pictures or videos you took. You'll connect right away.
I know. And then, but I'll be completely honest, I haven't really mastered how to go about like adding from there, because I know that groups are pretty strict as far as that. So I personally think it's more just about connecting and making relationships within the groups and then going from there. But again, I don't know. But mainly for growing my Facebook, I just go to friends of friends pages. I will try to add people who do have mutual friends already. So even if I don't know this person, I'll go to their friends and I'll try to find, you know, people that I have mutual friends with within them, because I think you don't really see that mutual friend thing as much on Instagram than you do on Facebook. That's just a little tip that from someone who's not an expert that
I think that's a great tip. I know for me personally, if we have a ton of mutual friends, I might click and make sure that one of those mutual friends isn't another distributor, right? Like we don't want to be adding people that they're already connected with someone else in the business. And I personally like to have at least, unless it's from a host to post, because you guys, I'm always going to friend request anyone who comments on a host to post. So that could be the exception, but I like to have at least maybe 2 to 5 or 3 to 5 mutual friends if I'm going about it the way of looking at my friends and adding that way. Do you kind of do the same thing?
Yeah, and you never want to friend from suggestions on Facebook, because the suggestions are like your friends already friends. So most of the time, like if you're friends with me or any other distributor, it's going to be their friends in there. So I go off. Like I go through like a high school friend, and then like another high school friend through that high school friend, and then I'll just add from there, because you know, you just kind of know that, you know, the mutual friends you're good. And then the same thing for Instagram. I just will except I'll go down like my timeline, I'll find a picture with a bunch of likes, and you know, add the girls from there. I'll search maybe places around where I live, like Planet Fitness or like a restaurant or a bar or whatever, or you know, anything like that. I'm 25, guys, so you know, if
No, I get what you're saying.
I
Like
know
for me, yeah, if someone's listening to their mom, then I could, like, just to give them more examples, I'd be like, okay, what's maybe a children's museum in my area? Or what's like a big park? What's a park? What's a, you know, a family friendly restaurant that other people are going to go to, and like are tagging those places. I did enroll a customer from,
the
from
location
doing that.
is literally right there when you click search on Instagram. So like it can find places for you around your area. But I mean, just think about, guys, the nail salon where you get your hair done. Like, again, where you go shopping, you go to Costco. There's people posting Costco pictures. I don't know why, but just go there and you'll find
Target.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. No, I think that's great. I definitely wanted to keep this like no longer than an hour. Is there anything, Emily, that you would just, whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, that you would just share? I don't know. Like, I'm loving all of this so far, and I can't wait to get the recording and re-listen to it. But I know, maybe one last question. Some people might be on here thinking, well, I haven't made a ton of money yet, or people don't want to join me because I've been in this length of time and still haven't promoted, or whatever. How important how do you go about like sharing your story? Because that's what we hear over and over, you guys. And I just want to hear Emily's take on it, because I'm guessing that's probably where you get people messaging you or having interest, is from a post that was personal, not a copy and paste one, you guys, from a post that created feelings and emotions in whoever it was that read it.
Yeah. So I'm really big with Grant Cardone, and one of the things I learned from him that stuck forever ago was you want to sell with emotion and close with logic. So think about that in your posts, right? I mean, sometimes I'll post a basic now hiring and I'll get a bunch of comments, which is great, but you know, there are people who have been watching you, and you know, being real, raw, and authentic is very, very, very important, because not a lot of people are like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you don't need to be like, you don't need to have like paid off $1 million of debt and like buy your dream car and have this like beautiful, like perfect life to attract other people. And realistically and honestly, you being real and raw and talking about being like vulnerable is probably it definitely is gonna be attracting more people to be in with anyways, because maybe talking about like $1 million that you made is really not realistic to a person who can't afford to buy groceries, right? So mix it up. You can talk about your big goals in some posts, or with people or whatever, but talk about being able, like, just to buy a water bottle. Like, guys, like, I remember I couldn't even buy a water bottle sometimes. I was so broke, right? I mean, getting my nails done, like, I just want to get my nails done, but you can't do it. Your hair, like, just small things like that. Getting groceries, not having your card decline and being embarrassed about it. Like, these things, like, so many people relate to that. And I mean, there's many things out there. So whatever your story is, be you, and don't be afraid to be you, because I promise you, like, you don't want to be anyone else. And I promise you, people are going to know if you're trying to be someone else. I've been there, done that. Don't make that mistake. I promise you that. But, also, let's say maybe you literally just started yesterday. Talk about what you're gonna do. Clean your goals, guys. Like, yeah, I'm an ambassador, but, like, I'm not an ambassador. Like, I'm on my 2.0 right now. And yes, I have a big team, and I'm helping them, and we're running, but, like, I'm working on my 2.0 now, and I'm an emerald. So, like, I'm claiming my goals. Like, I'm going diamond 2.0, and I'm making a full-time income in this business, right? So it's like, I'm just claiming it and I'm throwing it out there. I'm talking about, our wedding now, right? I mean, everything that we go through life, it's just like, it's always more things are going to come up. I mean, talk about how you bought a mug. Like, you were able to buy this mug, guys. I don't care if you made $5, right? You don't have to say you made $5, but as silly as it sounds, don't be afraid to embrace it, because that's the best thing that you can do.
I think you're so right. No, I love that. And maybe some of you, like, when you're talking about a mug or a water bottle, I remember listening to or not Zooms, YouTube trainings or trains on YouTube of, like, Jeide Hooper holding up, like, a bottle of Febreze. Like, seriously, the simplest thing, or like a lamp, it doesn't have to be anything big. I remember being able to buy myself a brand new pair of shoes. Like, as a mom, like, we put ourselves last, the kids come first, but I got a pair of shoes. They weren't extravagant, but it was $25. And sharing stuff like that, showing yourself, being able to fill up your gas tank. Maybe you used to only be able to put $5 or $10 in at a time. Now, because of this business, you were able to fill up your gas tank.
And not only that, sorry to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
Something else is, like, for me, ever since I started this business, when I made my first dream board, it was hard for me, because I'm just not a materialistic person. But for me, like, instead of a Louis Vuitton, I'd rather put that money into travel, right? So, like, it doesn't have to be, an extravagant car or even extravagant house. Like, my fiance and I, we want to build a house. We don't even want a big house. We want a big yard. Like, I want, like, llamas in my backyard. That's what I want to put my money into. And, being debt free. And again, like I said, travel. Like, I'm just not really a materialistic person. So, don't be afraid to be you, even though you may see other people, maybe posting their purses or their jewelry, or, like,
the Gucci belts.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe that is you. Heck yeah. Like, I have some things, like, I just brought the Spanx leggings, like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I'm not a materialistic person, but I'm going to sleep in these Spanx leggings. Like, we just all connect to different things. Right. So, that's something that's really important that I wanted to mention.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. And we're just at an hour, so this is so perfect. Emily, again, thank you so much. I will message you after I have dinner and just remind you to send me some of those things. Just be so helpful. And honestly, you guys, yeah, I didn't get to go through the chat, but, like, you see my name here. You guys know who your enroller is. If you're unsure, like, go into your eSuite, log in there and see who's your upline, or if they're not there anymore, who's above them. Don't be afraid to reach out, but also don't be afraid to reach out and ask us questions too. Emily's answered a lot of questions for me, and I'm not in her downline or whatever, but yeah, I guess that's what I'm just trying to end with, is that don't hesitate to ask questions. That's what's going to get you where you want. is by asking. And that's how I always know the people on my team who truly want this and want to be successful, is they are blowing up my phone with questions. And that's who I know who to pour into.
Mm-hmm. I love that. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, I don't know if I need to hit end meeting or if you do, because
I can.
how this works, I just don't want us to lose the recording.
I got it. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Oh, hang on one sec. Let me get a picture really quick if it's not too late.
Yeah.
It won't be like super high quality or anything like that. I want
that one too.
You see this blue glow coming in the background? We have a saltwater aquarium, and so that's the lighting that it's giving. That's the lighting it's giving the whole room. It's funny because when neighbors will drive by who didn't know we had one, they're like, what's going on in their house? There's like this blue glowing light coming from their window.
I love that. Some fishes.
Yay. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get a picture. I need to definitely invest in a nice ring light or something beautiful. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.